Well, good morning, everybody. This is Jamie Silver with Herf Jones Yearbooks. I hope this finds you well. Hope you enjoyed your weekend. Depending on your location, you probably saw the first snow of the year. A little dusting, but it's a reminder that the winter season and holidays are ahead of us. So speaking of, this week being a short week with a Thanksgiving holiday, I wanted to wish you a happy Thanksgiving. I hope you get some downtime with friends and family and enjoy the Thanksgiving holiday. With that said, for today's podcast, we have 4 topics I'd like to share with you. The first one is Club Picture Day and some pointers to help make that a smooth event. And then a quick demonstration on moving spreads in eDesign, a quick demo on using name check to make sure we get all the names spelled correctly in the finished yearbook, and then a fun thing to close with some new HJ Yerd stickers in a new form that I'll show you a quick demonstration of. So let's get started here with this blog that was posted recently, and I'd like to share a couple pointers with you from it. I'll include a link to it as well in the podcast, but it's from this advisor in Missouri, and I think Deborah had some great examples of some things to consider while you're planning this day. So, whether you have an official club picture day like this, in the gym, or you have other photos that happen at school that you're just trying to organize, large numbers of people to come in and get a picture taken in a group setting, I think you'll get some good pointers from here. So the headline of her blog post here is Club Picture Day, It Takes a Village. And for those of you who've done this, you've probably experienced it. If you have a process that works, excellent. Please keep it up. If you'd like a couple pointers, if this day tends to bring a little stress, because it can be stressful, I'd like to share a couple pointers from Deborah here. So again, I'll share this link in the podcast so you can click and read in more detail. But she had a couple great resources here I want to share with you. 2 weeks prior to the event, she sends out this request to the building manager at the school with some following needs. So number 1, a megaphone. You're going to need it. A couple of requests on doors in the gym that you might be using or the auditorium, which doors should be locked or open to help with traffic flow. You'll want all the basketball hoops, if you are in the gym, to be up, to be out of the way for the photos or people playing. Bleachers down, we're going to need those, and then some red ropes to help block off an area for the photographer, maybe a waiting area and whatnot. A week prior to the event, she sends out an email to teachers in the building with some following requests. And again, it's to help ensure that they have another successful event. So we want to pull from the experience that they've had, hopefully, at your school, having this be a nice, smooth event. If not, it will be after you take some of these suggestions. So, a reminder of the basics, the date and where. North Gym, October 21st and her 27th in her example. Make sure that if the club has a T-shirt, that you remind them to wear it. Again, this is 1 week prior. Mention that there's no props allowed in the photos, and a reminder to show up 15 minutes early, and really stress the punctuality topic here. And mention if you want to, the photos will not be reshot if someone arrives late. At some point, this is why this day gets stressful. We just have to move with it, roll with it. But again, if it's all about communication, help establishing these rules beforehand, it runs like a well-oiled machine. So that's something to consider. Another comment in her note here is there mentioned that there will be signs hanging around the gym, in her example, the North Gym, that show the students where they can put their belongings, meet as a group, and the sign will include, not only the name of the event, but also the time of the photo. Once everyone is seated, you are going to ask the teachers of that or the sponsor of that group to help with supervision to make sure everyone is in the photo and no one else, okay? We also want to mention that once the students are seated, they'll be passing out clipboards for students to write down their names for the caption. So again, this is 1 week prior. On the day of the event, again, have signs hanging around the gym with each club name in addition to the club name. Also post the time of the photo. This is, again, where they can leave their belongings near their sign and they're part of the gym. They also have Key Club help at this school, as an example, to help with student workers. And whether those are Key Club student workers or your own on staff or other volunteers, here's a couple ideas of how she breaks down the tasks for getting people in, organized, identified, photographed, and out. So 4-person crew, including 1 more for the photographer. The first person provides a club sign, so we know which image is being taken, and get that on camera so we can identify it later. Person 2 passes out the clipboards in the front, and it just kind of goes through that middle row for another person in the back row. Again, the clipboard is for all the students once they're seated to print their names for identification purposes. At the end of the picture, the person one in this example then staples up and creates a packet of information for that club and reloads for the next bleacher, right? So it's just group in, group out, collect all the names, staple them together, identify it on camera so we know which club it is for later, and then hopefully we can just step and repeat and have that done for all the clubs. So it's important to have signage posted also outside of your photo location, so outside the gym or auditorium, so students know when the club is being photographed and where. Another good thing is to maybe post this on social media of your choice to help get the word out in advance. Again, it's all about communication and getting people in a rhythm, and then hopefully we can just repeat this the next year and get this picture day down smooth. So I know it can be stressful, but hopefully these pointers from Deborah can help you make your picture day run a little bit smoother. So that's picture day. Again, I'll include the link for that. Next topic, we're going to be talking about moving spreads, and I have a short little video to share with you, and I will be right back.
In this tutorial, we'll show you how the advisor is able to move spreads in the ladder of eDesign. When logged in as an advisor, go to the Book module. The Move Spread function allows you to shift spreads around in your ladder while keeping all of the ladder information and the page contents intact. Go to the Edit menu and choose Move Spreads. The ladder will then appear in this slightly different view. In this window, you can drag and drop spreads to new locations. For example, I want to place the Spirit Week spread in front of the Homecoming spread, so I'll click and drag that spread up in the ladder. Notice the indicator that appears to show me where I'm going to move the spread. When I release the mouse button, the spread is placed in its new location. You can move more than one spread during a single session. When you've made the moves that you want, it's a good idea to scroll through the ladder a bit to check things before clicking OK. If everything looks good, click OK, and eDesign will then rearrange the ladder and change the page numbers as necessary. There are a few situations in which a spread cannot be moved. First, the title page and the last page of the book cannot be moved. They are single pages and they cannot swap places with double page spreads. You cannot move a spread that is in the In Pre-Flight, Finished, or Submitted status, because moving the spread would cause the page numbers to change. Pages in this status will appear dimmed down in the Move Spreads window. Also, you cannot perform any other spread move that would cause one of the In Pre-Flight, Finished, or Submitted pages to move position. If you need to move spreads that are in pre-flight or finished, you can click the Needs Work link on each page to return these pages to the edited status. You would then be able to move those spreads. If you're printing a partial color book where some pages are set to print in color and some in black and white, you'll receive a notification if the move you request would require one or more pages to change from black and white to color or vice versa. The Move Spreads function is most useful early in the year when you're trying to tweak the ladder and get everything where you want it to be. Let's say, for instance, I realized that I forgot to leave a spread for JV football before the varsity football spread. I would open Move Spreads, scroll down in the ladder to an empty spread that I've not started working on yet, drag it up, and place it before the varsity football spread. I'll then click OK to commit the move. And that's how you use the Move Spreads function in eDesign.
And as Mark said, this is something to really consider early in the school year. And I know it's almost late November here, and it's just a reminder this time of year as we may need to shift things around. If you do, and as Mark showed there, if there's pages submitted, it can be challenging moving pages around. If you're in that situation, please give me a call and I'll be happy to help you. There's a little workaround that we can still relocate some spreads, but the move spread function won't work as you saw there. So if you've submitted anything and you really need to move something around it, again, we can't move it if it's actually submitted, but if you just need to move around it and eDesign isn't allowing you to do so, just reach out to me and I'll be happy to give you a little tutorial on how to, a little workaround for that. Okay, next quick demonstration is on name check. So if you've used this in the past, you'll know that this is a great way to cross-reference basically all your students' faculty names with an official school roster from the office. So a quick demonstration on that, and again, I'll be right back.
Name check helps you identify and correct misspelled names in your yearbook so that each person's name is spelled correctly and consistently throughout. Name check scans the text on pages and looks for sequences of 2 or more consecutive capitalized words. For instance, name check would find Mary Smith, Anne Marie Williams. It would also find things such as Beta Club, Quick Trip Food Mart. All of these follow the pattern of 2 or more consecutive capitalized words. When NameCheck finds one of these sequences, it compares it to the names in the master name list. If it cannot find a match, then it underlines in red that sequence of words as a possible misspelled name. Let's see how this works. I'll zoom in on this text frame. I see that Ricky Green is underlined. To launch NameCheck, I'll double-click to place my cursor in the text frame. With the cursor inside one of the underlined words, I'll right-click and choose NameCheck. The NameCheck window opens, and you can search for the name in the list. You can search for the first or last name, and you can enter just a few characters if you're not sure about the spelling. Press Enter or Return to activate the search. I see here that Ricky's last name is actually spelled with an E on the end. To replace the spelling on the page with the correct spelling, just double-click on the entry in the NameCheck window, and it's replaced on the page. I'll follow the same procedure for Trent's name. Right-click and launch NameCheck. Search for the name, then double-click to replace the name on the page. Because NameCheck looks for sequences of 2 or more capitalized words, it is also flagging the entries for White County and Wesleyan High. If these were names that appeared regularly in your book, the advisor or editor could add these to the custom names list in Book Setup so that they would always show as being spelled correctly. If you want to temporarily ignore a name, you can click the Ignore button in NameCheck. This will remove the red line during this editing session. You can also run NameCheck on the whole page or spread. First, be sure that nothing on the page is selected. You can do this by clicking on an empty part of the page. Then go to the Edit menu and choose Run NameCheck. NameCheck opens and walks you through all of the flagged items on the page or spread. The item currently located is listed in the top left. You can search the name list and replace the name as shown previously. You can ignore the entry and be taken to the next flagged name, or you can just click to go to the next or previous item on the page. When you're done, click Cancel. And that's how you use NameCheck to ensure correct and consistent name spelling in your yearbook.
Thank you, Mark. Again, what a powerful tool. You know, we're all familiar with spell check, but this is a great way to add your student list as well as other topics, as he mentioned, with clubs and whatnot, by modifying a custom dictionary to make it a really helpful tool to check all the names in your book. So again, any questions on that, please feel free to reach out to me. Last topic for today's episode is kind of a fun, quick one here. You're probably familiar with some of our Herff Jones flair that we've shared in the past. It's those little pins. I may have brought some to you at school. You may have seen some at local events or whatnot. And they're just fun little pins you can wear on your backpack or whatnot. But we just recently came out with an electronic version of this that coincides with the new iOS 10 update. So on your iPhone or iPad, you'll be able to use an electronic version of some of the fun flair items we have. So I'm going to show you a quick demonstration of that. It's a free download in the App Store. So again, just something fun. Consider something fun for the holidays, but if you want to try these between fellow Yerds, those of you listening, yearbook nerds, please feel free. Those are available